What's up, guys? Today we're going to be testing out the BOTE Rackham Aero. It's been a while since I've uploaded, been busy with other stuff, but spring is finally here. And a little backstory before we get to the water, so I don't have to explain it once we get on the water. I had the BOTE Rover Aero. Long story short, I got a little hole in that. Was kind of frustrated. Contacted BOTE's customer service, which I've heard not so good things from, was actually really good and really nice and quick to act, and they sent me new valves, and I did that video where I showed how to replace a valve in the BOTE inflatable. So that wasn't the issue. It ended up being like some internal pinhole or something, I don't know. But BOTE actually ended up sending me a new BOTE Rover Aero. Just, they were like, okay, the valves didn't work, we'll just send you a new board. So I sent them my BOTE Rover Aero. They sent me a brand new one back. It did happen to be the wrong pattern. It was a different bug slinger pattern, which is fine. I mean, I really like the redfish one, but this was, I think, the bonefish. But I did blow it up, and I wanted to see if it would hold air, and made sure everything was good, there was no defects or anything. But one thing I did notice is there was a few new features, like they had the magnapod on this one, which they didn't on the other pattern, and then just the materials were different. The seams seemed thicker and more rugged, like textured. The texture of just the board in general was different. So I know there's been a lot of issues with the BOTE Rover Aero, but I think they have, like, the bug slinger redfish was like the old style, and then this bug slinger bonefish, which you can't buy the redfish anymore as far as I know, but the bonefish pattern seemed to be an updated version of the Rover Aero. So between that and customer service being so good, it kind of gave me some confidence in the BOTE brand that had been lacking. I guess they're kind of getting their stuff together and reverse and ship a little bit, because they were good, and then it kind of seemed like they floundered a little bit. Now they're, in my opinion, I think they're doing good. Their customer service is good. They respond fast now, and they're upgrading materials and all that. But anyway, I sold that BOTE Rover Aero. I never put it in the water. It was brand new. It was a different pattern than I liked. And I had already sold my 6 horsepower outboard anyway, so I was just using it with a trolling motor anyway. So I sold that, and kind of waited a couple months, and then the BOTE Rackham Aero went on sale, and I was able to pick up one in Verge Camo. Now, today, I don't have a motor on this thing. I just made some quick little starboard adapter for the Apex pedal drive. I didn't get the pedal drive version, mainly because you have to use the inflatable seat. That's where the steering clips into. Didn't want to use that. I like my Larry chair. So I'm paddling today, but I have a little starboard thing that goes in the Apex pedal drive for my fish finder, kind of like a bona fide dry pod kind of thing, where my transducer and everything just plops right down there. We're going to test that, see how that works. It's a rough, I just did it real quick. It's kind of rough. It doesn't look the best, but it's just a proof of concept kind of thing. And then in the future, we're going to be hooking a Bixby K1 motor onto it, which is the new Bixby motor. So I'm going to have a video testing the Bixby K1, and also a video with the BOTE Rackham Aero being motorized. So stay tuned if you want to see all that. And with all that being said, I will see you guys on the water. All right, good old first fish. First fish on the boat board. There we go. Nice little first bass of the year. First bass on the boat board. Brought them up shallow. GoPros have overheated. I let them cool down a little bit, but got this little quarter, half pounder Senko again. Alright guys, so this is what we got right now because my GoPros keep overheating, so we're now using the iPhone. And it's May. It's not even hot. I mean, it's like an 80-degree day in May. Both the 11 and the 9 keep overheating. So we're going straight iPhone now. And I have no mount for it or anything like that, so it'll be fun. Because I cannot get either GoPro to stay on right now. And it's 10:40 in the morning and it's 70 degrees. And they just keep turning off. Why do they make GoPros black? They know they have overheating issues and yet they make them in black. Get that nice and clean. I will say one thing I do like about this Magnapod here. If you look at it. This Magnapod right here is it's magnetic. It's for like a cup holder or a speaker, but it's really nice because it holds your hooks too. So on an inflatable, you don't really want hooks flying around getting caught on stuff. So while you're getting your bait ready, this is going to keep it from blowing around and getting pulled around very much. It's going to stick it right here on the magnet. I do like that. Pretty cool feature. Since GoPros absolutely suck, I have to use my iPhone. I did find some beds, and it seems they are on them. So, no big fish yet, but we're getting there. Getting a little upgrade. Pound or so, roughly. Going back. But I switched over to this lizard when I saw him on beds. And first cast with the lizard. Senko. I've caught 2 on the Senko today, but they weren't on beds. And I've been casting at these bass that were on beds with the Senko, and they're not paying them any mind. But this lizard, they can't stand a lizard when they're on beds. So, all right, guys, I just got off the water. The GoPros were not working like they were supposed to today. I could not get them to stay on. So who knows, you know, how much footage I got. Both on the chesty and the overhead, they were both doing the same thing. So I don't know. Well, I'll put whatever I got over this little talking head section of this video to explain my first impressions of the BOTE Aero. Now, I just got off the water with it. It's extremely lightweight. You probably don't need a cart, to be honest. I did not use the cart to load it in the truck. I have the travel link that BOTE sells. It's like $40 or $50. But it's a pretty little robust shoulder strap. And the Rackham has the 2 links on either side. And you just clip it to there. You can throw the whole board over your shoulder. Obviously, I took the power pole, my Arctic bag, and all my rods and, you know, that stuff off. But I did leave the chair, the fish finder, and the cooler. And that just had 2 waters and an ice pack in it. So not extremely heavy. But I was still able to throw it over my shoulder, walk it to my truck, set it down, load it up in the truck. So it's extremely light. I I wouldn't want to do that for a long walk. I mean, a cart would be nice for longer walks, but if you're right by the boat ramp, or if you're loading on the boat ramp, all you gotta do is hook that thing up, throw it over your shoulder, put it in the boat. I don't have any video of that, but I was able to catch 3 fish off of it, so it's nice and stealthy. Honestly, I think I used a regular kayak paddle, but it was easier to paddle with standing up. Like a SUP paddle that it comes with, I think is plenty. If you want a chair just to sit down periodically, or if you do get a Bixby or something like that, like I'm gonna do, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the chair on there, just to, you know, when you're motoring, when you're retying, whatever. But as far as paddling goes, if you really want to paddle it, I would say stand-up paddle is the way to go. Now, you can use it as just a normal kayak with the chair. That's what I was doing today, and I was able to get around 3 miles per hour just paddling it like a kayak. You do want to sit further forward than you think, because it does tip back. The further forward you sit, it kind of levels out and goes a little bit faster, and then gets like hull slap. So it's a little more forward than you think if you're paddling it with a kayak paddle, and that should really help with your speed and efficiency. Now, standing up, I mean, it's super stable. I would say it's close to as stable as the Rover. The Rover is just like shockingly stable. It's like twice as thick as the Rackham, and I believe it's like 2 inches wider. I think it's 40 or 41 inches, and the Rackham's 38 inches wide. So it is wider. I think it's 2 inches longer, and it does weigh like 20-30 pounds more, and it's also a lot deeper, like it's taller. But all in all, I mean, I felt super stable. I was able to walk around on it. I mean, if you have some good balance, if you've kayaked before, if you've, you know, been on the water on a small kayak or a paddleboard, then you probably have pretty good balance if you can stand up in those. And if you can, then this should be no problem. Other than that, I mean, it's super quiet. It does get blown around a lot, so I would either get a sand spear or a power pole or a super stick or whatever kind of anchor pin you want to get. It does come with a sand spear sheath, which is just a little kind of thing that you can screw into the side of it on either side, and you can put your spike through that. So if you want to go more expensive and something a little bit nicer with a push button and everything, it does add a lot of weight. But the Power Pole Micro is awesome with it. It holds really well because this thing does not sit really in the water. It kind of sits on the water, which means the wind's going to take it. So a spike or an anchor of some sort is definitely a go-to or a must on this boat, because you're going to get blown around everywhere if you don't have some way of anchoring it down. I did paddle it with the long fin on. Eventually that's going to be replaced with the Bixby, because I got the fin mounted Bixby, the slide and lock, and then I'm going to just steer it with the paddle. I'm not really going to use it to do a whole lot other than get from A to B. And then when I get there, I'm going to probably just use a stand-up paddle or my kayak paddle. What else? Let's see. So super stable, super fast. I mean, I can't wait to put a Bixby on this thing. It's going to fly. I was able to get 3 to 3.5 fairly consistently, just sitting paddling, and I wasn't really all that great at distributing the weight, so it was not as smooth as it could have been. A stand-up paddle, I couldn't see the fish finder standing up, but I will say it did feel a whole lot faster. So I would say probably closer to 4 standing up, which is nice. But yeah, if you're looking for something that is inflatable, I mean, then this is a good buy. If you're looking for something to sight fish, shallow water fishing, something that's just lightweight and easy to get out on the water, easy to transport. If you have a car, you can, deflate it and inflate it each time. I would get the electric one. I'd get the one off Amazon. Not Boats is a little expensive, but you're paying for a name. But I have the one off Amazon. It's orange and gray. I can't remember the actual name of it, but I'll link it below. It was a little over $100, and it does perfect. I mean, it works great. I had mine blown up to about 12 psi, 12 and a half. It was a little spongy. The max is 15. I might pump it up to like a 13 and a half, 14, and see how that feels if it's a little more rigid. But it was hard enough. It's a lot of space on there for storage. You don't really have any dry storage, obviously. It's a paddleboard. You don't really have anywhere. You can't screw in anywhere. I mean, you do have a few spots where they have some threaded inserts for like the paddle sheath up in the front, the power pole in the back, and then those 2 sand spear sheaths on either side, but that's it. So, I mean, theoretically, you could put just a screw in like ram ball or something into those and then have an accessory off of that, because they are 1/4 20. But other than that, I mean, I would attach most things. You do have the apex drive hole, the port, that you can do what I did and just take a piece of starboard, cut it out to the same shape as the plug, and then you have somewhere where you can mount your fish finder, transducer, all that all worked great. So it's a pretty versatile boat. It's an awesome stand-up paddleboard. It's inflatable, so it's easy to transport and it's lightweight. It can be a paddle kayak, a pedal kayak. It can be a motorized kayak. If you put a Bixby, Torpedo, Newport, whatever, you can mount a power pole to it, so you can get super stealthy in shallow water. Run your, just paddle it. If you're in super shallow water, if you're sight fishing, stuff like that. I was sight fishing today off of it. The big bass haven't moved up on beds yet, but there was a lot of small bass on beds, and I was able to catch a few of those sight fishing. I was able to get within like 15 feet of them, power pole down because it was like 4 feet deep, and able to sight fish right off of them. It worked really well. Overall, I mean, my first impressions is it's an impressive little boat. It's a little overpriced, I think, but you do get a lot of features that you don't get with just a standard iSUP, like the power pole mounts and the versatility of the pedal drive port for their Apex pedal drive, for Bixby, for whatever. So you can motorize it. You can motorize it with a fin, which other ones you can too. But being able to put a Bixby and a power pole on it and mount your fish finder through the pedal drive port, that's what makes it a winner for me. And I think that's what, in my book, makes it worth the $1,300 to $1,500 that you would pay for it, depending on the time of year and what sales are going on. I've seen them as low as like $1,390 something, and I think they get normal prices around $1,600 or $1,700. I believe I paid right around $15, and then they gave me a $100 gift card with the purchase. So I was able to get a boat little travel bag and a boat speaker that attaches with that Magnapod. Yeah, overall, I think it's going to be fast with a Bixby. It was fairly fast just paddling it. It's super lightweight. It's super stable, super versatile. I mean, it has its cons. It's an inflatable paddleboard. You can't drill into it. There's no dry storage. All the stuff that you would get with something like a Lynx or an iTrek or any other inflatable, you're going to get with this, because it is an inflatable. However, I think it is, as far as paddleboard goes, an awesome paddleboard, an awesome inflatable kayak. There's definitely benefits to having a roto kayak that is hard and has dry storage and compartments and all that, but it comes with a lot of extra weight. So it makes it more customizable when you can drill into the boat. But if you want something that's just simple, grab and go, throw it on there, something that can be upgraded with a pedal drive or a motor, or work in different scenarios when you need different things to accomplish a different goal for a different day. The versatility is really what sells it to me. But yeah, so that's my initial thoughts on the BOTE Rackham. I'm rambling a little bit. Overall, I think it's great so far, and stay tuned for a full review. Stay tuned for a review of the Bixby K1. I've got that coming in. And stay tuned for a review of this BOTE Rackham Aero with the Bixby K1. We're really going to put that thing to the test and see how fast it can push it. Anyways, guys, appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.